Good evening and welcome to St. Paul Planning Meeting. We'll call the meeting to order, the time being 5:35. Before we adopt the agenda, I'd like to propose to council that item number 9.11, second water distribution line project, to move in camera tonight. And then to add under bylaw item 8.2, senior administration bylaw for first reading. Can I have the resolution, please?
Be resolved that the agenda be amended as follows. Move item 9.11, second water distribution line project to in camera and add item 8.2, senior administration bylaw for first reading.
Any discussion? I'll call for the question. All those, can I have a mover, please? Moved by Posthumous, seconded by Horechko. All those in favor? And that's carried. Move on to confirmation of the minutes from January 10th, 2023, regular council meeting. Are there any edits to those meeting minutes? Hearing none, I'll call for the resolution.
Be resolved that the minutes from the January 10th, 2023 council meeting be approved.
Mover, please. Impulse, seconded by Duval. Why can't I think of this name? Call for the question. All those in favor? Carried. Yeah, sorry about that, Brian. Good blank. It's hard having two Brians on the panel.
Yeah.
To be honest. Okay. We don't have any delegations this evening, so I will move to open the resolution for the first public hearing, variation order 127-202276 Wyndstone Circle, please.
Be it resolved that council open the public hearing of council for variation order 127-2022 for 76 Wyndstone Circle.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Posthumous, seconded by Councillor Horechko. All those in favor? And that's carried. We have Red River Planning with us. Mr. Planner, we'll give you the floor to introduce the variation order.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, Council. This is variance application period 127-2022. The subject property is located at 76 Wyndstone Circle. The applicant wishes to reduce the separation distance due to increased size in the deck. This is the variance request table. The applicant wishes to reduce distance from the required 20 feet to 16.7 feet. This is the minimum separation space from on-site roadway. This is the location map identifying the subject property and illustrating the surrounding area. As you can see, the property is located at the intersection of Rock Maple Road and Wyndstone Circle. The orange in the map marks the tentative location of the deck. This is the site plan provided by the applicant that marks the location of the house and the deck. The reduced distance between the deck and the roadway is also shown by the applicant. As stated earlier, the intent of this application is to reconstruct the deck with increased size. This requires variance approval from the council. There was a variance application in the past for an older deck, but now that the dimensions have changed, a new variance is required. The application was circulated to various departments of the RM. We did not receive any objections on this proposal. If the council wishes to approve this application, Red River Planning recommends two conditions. Number one, this variance is limited to reduce separation distances as proposed in this site plan of this application. Any changes in use, additions, and/or replacement require any variance approval. Number two, the applicant owner retains all the required permits from Red River Planning District and BYM. Thank you. If the council has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you. Council, do we have any questions for Mr. Planner this evening?
Pretty
I have the sheet for. Okay. Does the applicant wish to speak tonight? Mr. Gordon?
Yes.
Really, the sole purpose for starting this application. The current deck is on two levels. If you come out of the patio door, and there's a step and it drops, it goes down two steps to a main level. My wife is, her mobility is very restricted, so she's in a wheelchair or a walker. So the current deck is of really no value at all. So going through the whole process of raising it up, we thought it would make sense to enlarge to the maximum size allowed by the condo association, which is 140 square feet. So it's not a large change, but it'll certainly allow her to get out on the deck.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for the applicant? No? Okay, thank you. We don't have anybody else signed in. Is there anybody online to speak? Okay. Is council prepared to close the public hearing?
Yes.
Okay, for resolution?
Be resolved that council close the public hearing of council for variation order 127/2022, 76 Wyndstone Circle.
Can I have a mover, please? Counselor Imhoff, seconded by Counselor Duval. All those in favor? And that's carried. And for resolution?
Be resolved that variation order 127/2022 be approved subject to the following conditions. This variance is limited, reduced separation distance as proposed in the site plan of this application. Any changes in use, additions, and or replacement may require a new variance approval. An applicant owner obtains required permits from the Red River Planning District and the municipality.
Can I have a mover, please? Counselor Postumus, seconded by Counselor Horechko. Any discussion? Call for the question. All those in favor? And that's carried. Six point 1.4. Public hearing subdivision S22-297948 Ryan Wirth Way for resolution to open the public hearing.
Be resolved that council open the public hearing for subdivision S22-297948 Ryan Wirth Way.
Can I have a mover, please? Counselor Duval, seconded by Counselor Horechko. All those in favor? That's carried. Public hearing is now open. And we'll hear from Mr. Planner.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is subdivision application S22-2979. The subject property is located at 48 Ryan Wirth Way. The applicant wishes to subdivide the property into 2 lots in the commercial highway zone. This is the zoning compliance table. There are no area requirements in the commercial highway zone, but the proposed lot 1 do not meet the 100 feet width requirements in the zone. Additional variances will be required to bring the lot into compliance. This is the location map identifying the subject property and illustrating the surrounding area. As you can see, the property gains access from Ryan Wirth Way. Proposed lot 1 will gain access via a driveway that is about 40 feet wide. This is the subdivision application map. As you can see, the property fronts Ryan Wirth Way and the perimeter highway runs south of the property. The applicant is proposing a driveway to provide access to proposed lot 1. This driveway is about 20 feet at the entry exit point from Ryan Wirth and about 40 feet wide after that. As stated earlier, the proposal will result in 1 new title for future commercial development under general development designation. This designation promotes development in orderly manner. Red River Planning notes that the RM administration has expressed some concerns regarding a narrow driveway access from Ryan Wirth Way. In addition, this lot was part of a previously approved subdivision in 2017. We did not receive any objections over this proposal. If the council wishes to approve this application, our office recommends 3 conditions that are reflected on the screen and mentioned in section 9 of the report. Thank you. If the council has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you. Council, do you have any questions? Planner? Counselor Postumus?
Yes, Red River Planning mentioned the 40-foot driveway. And I'm guessing the applicant will come up. Once that's in, is that a driveway that they would be maintaining and snow clearing, et cetera, because ours are usually 66 feet for the graders and our snow clearing. So I'm guessing that Is that in there at all, or do you know, or that would be a question for the applicant?
It could be a question for the applicant, but this is not a proposed road, so the RM will not. do anything.
So it's basically as a driveway.
Yes.
It-
It's
Okay, so that would be there. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Clarify.
Oh.
So technically, it's not the approach, it's the lot, right? So that piece that comes to Ryan Northway is the lot. And so that's their private property.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? Okay, is it, I think, Councillor Duval?
It's probably a question for the applicant, but I'll ask it from the planning point of view, if you have any input to it. The driveway is 40 feet wide, which is good. And as it approaches the crescent there, it narrows down to 20 feet. If you screen back up. Do you know why it wasn't extended all the way to 40 feet to meet Ryan Wirth Way?
Maybe the applicant can answer that question, but we did get comments from the infrastructure department. And they said that 20 feet is not good for commercial traffic. That's gonna be coming. So.
I'll ask the applicant.
Do we want the Director of Infrastructure to touch on that question? You don't have a mic, sorry.
Yeah, at the time that I reviewed the drawing, the dimension of 20 feet was not provided, so it was just basically I was eyeballing it and thought that it looked too narrow. It does look to be 20 feet, which depending on the nature of traffic and the nature of the turns coming into that driveway, would probably be too narrow for a turn or approach. And I had a similar question, which is why that 40-foot width wouldn't be extended directly into Ryan Wirth Way. So as I had indicated, I didn't say, my comment wasn't that 20 feet wasn't adequate. My comment was that it appeared too narrow because at the time the dimension wasn't provided. I still feel that it's likely too narrow.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Ostrowski.
And I believe we have a bylaw standard, or I think it's 33 feet our driveway, so that would be something we'd have to.
It's not a driveway though. So in this situation, this is the property. So the standard is the 100-foot width. So in this situation, they're reducing it, the site width. So even though they're going to use it as a driveway, it's
Yeah.
the property.
Right, but it's still a driveway, and I believe ours are 33 feet. Because when the public part gets cleaned, that's pretty narrow.
As far as the application, it's just dealt with the.
Okay,
Okay, we'll hear from the applicant. I assume the applicant is Steve Wirth, is that correct? Yes.
Al's gonna speak.
Al's gonna speak, okay.
Here, Pollock, right land surveyors. With the issue of the driveway's cut off like that because it's supposed to be a shared driveway between the two lots. So the other 20 feet will be maintained by the lot closest to Ryan Wirth Way. So it actually does go straight through there. It's going to be a double wide driveway. One driveway going into the right, one driveway going off to the left. And it'll be dealt with by KVN.
Okay,
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any other questions, but that's really what the idea is. If we run the driveway straight through, we essentially have to create another driveway further to the north to allow the other lot to access, and it really doesn't make any sense. Any kind of traffic going in there will benefit from a wider driveway.
Thank
Is
you.
there anything else?
no, do you have further presentation or just gonna answer the
Well,
question?
we agree with the planner's report. The planner's report's in depth, and it basically touches on everything that has to happen. We should have been a little clearer on the shared driveway approach, but that's what the intent is that we have a double wide driveway.
Any questions for the applicant?
nope, that explained it.
We have a few people signed in support. I will name you all. Steve Wirth, I assume you're not speaking. Okay. Okay. Kristen Wirth. And Brian, you'll have to help me out with the last name. Rizalewski. Okay. Rizalewski. Okay, would you like to speak to the application tonight? Okay. Thank you. Okay, so is council prepared to close the public hearing? Okay, for resolution, please.
Resolve that council close the public hearing of council for subdivision S 2979 for 48 Warren.
I have a mover, please. Counselor Postumus, seconded by Counselor Horechko. All those in favor? It's carried. And for resolution.
Resolved that subdivision S 2979 be approved subject to the following conditions. Should council applicant owner submits confirmation in writing from the CEO of the municipality that taxes on the land to be subdivided for the current year, plus any arrears have been paid or arrangements satisfactory to council have been made. Payment of any applicable development levies have been paid. A development agreement with the municipality has been entered into to address items including, but not necessarily limited to, the use of land and any existing or proposed building, fencing and landscaping, sewer and water, waste removal, drainage, any other standard the municipality deems necessary. And 2, applicant owner submits written confirmation to the RRPD from Manitoba Hydro that an easement agreement has been entered into with Manitoba Hydro with respect to existing and or future facilities associated with subdivision, and a plan of easement as required by the Real Estate Act has been approved. 3, applicant owner obtain the required variances for site width for undersized lot.
That was a lot. May I have a mover, please? Counselor Postumus, seconded by Counselor Horechko. Any discussion? No. Mr. Water, are you satisfied with the answer from the applicant?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you. Okay, then I'll call for the question. All those in favor? And that's carried. Okay. I'll call for the resolution for the last public hearing, 6.2 subdivision S18 2768 2018 Burton Avenue.
Be it resolved that council open the public hearing of council for subdivision S18-2768 2018 Burton Avenue.
I have a mover, please. Counselor Duval, seconded by Counselor Imhoff. All those in favor? And that's carried. Mr. Planner.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is subdivision application S 182768. These subject properties are located at 2018 Burton Avenue. The applicant wishes to amend the application that was approved in 2019. The applicant is proposing 4 lots for future single-family residential development. This is the zoning compliance table. The subdivision creates 4 lots from 7843 square feet in area and 52.30 feet in width. The current zoning of the property is multifamily and the minimum area requirements are 10,000 square feet and 100 feet. This is the location map identifying the subject property and illustrating the surrounding area. As you can see, the property fronts Burton Avenue and there is residential development in the north, south, and east of the property. This is the previously approved subdivision application map. As you can see, the applicant proposed 6 lots that were part of a beer-led condominium development. The RM of East St. Paul and Red River Planning District Board approved this in 2019. This is the amended subdivision application that came forward in July 2020. The applicant amended the approved SAM and proposed a standard subdivision creating 6 new titles for 3 duplex buildings. This proposal was rejected by the RM of East St. Paul Council and Red River Planning Board last year. This is the current amendment. The applicant wishes to create 4 new titles and is proposing a single family development on the lots. This is a map reflecting the area and width of the few lots in the surroundings. Red River Planning notes that there are multiple lots in the area with width smaller than the required 100 feet and area less than the required 10,000 feet. As stated earlier, the amendment proposal is for single-family lots that do not meet the current zoning requirements. We circulated this application to various provincial agencies and departments and did not receive any objection on the proposal. As a condition of approval, Red River Planning advises to rezone the property to R18 zone, which is a single-family zone, to accommodate the area and its requirements. Variances will still be required, but the proposal would meet 98% of the area requirements. For council's consideration, here is a zoning compliance table for the new R18 zone. This zone has area requirements of 8,000 square feet and width requirements of 60 feet. As I said before, additional variances will still be required, but lots would meet 98% of the area requirements and 88% of the width requirements. If the council wishes to approve this application, Red River Planning recommends 6 conditions that are reflecting on the screen and listed in section 10 of the report. If the council has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you. Council, do we have any questions for the planner? I have one question, because there's variances that would go along with this subdivision. Is it not possible to have had them in the same meeting? Do they have to be done separately in meetings?
Not necessarily, but in this case, we are advising them to rezone first and then apply for variances as per the new zone.
Okay, so it was advised by RRPD.
Yes.
And the variances only come out when you do the rezoning. Because they're related to the size of the R18 zone, so that's why. So they'll be combined with that, and in this case, since they've been turned down before, they're going to do the subdivision first and then move forward with rezoning and variances together.
Okay, I was just thinking that it could be handled all in the same evening and save the applicant potentially coming back if it was approved. Okay, so, oh, sorry, Councillor Hretchko.
So on Burton, there are other properties that are basically 50-foot lots.
As I was showing on this map. So all these properties have less width than the required 100 feet, and they're close to 50 or 60 feet.
Yes, there's precedence on the
Yes.
street.
So it matches the character of the itself.
Oh, Councillor Duval.
Maybe you answered the question, but so it means the applicant has to come back for rezoning.
Yes, that's correct.
And he also has to come back for variances because they're slightly off. Is that true?
Yes.
Those two happen at the same time?
Only if the rezoning goes through. Because the property has to be rezoned for them to
Of course.
apply for variances to match those area requirements.
Now, in my days on the Red River Planning Board, this came up a few times.
Do you want to use my microphone? Because I find you.
Is this not working?
We'll turn it on.
It's on.
It's on.
No, it's red.
That means it's on.
I mean, it's on.
Have to talk really close into Brian.
Agrees.
How's that?
Good.
Yeah, and you can pull the cord out, Brian. It'll get closer to you. There you go.
Logic says that this rezoning happens before a subdivision application, but I know it is done, and on occasion the reverse, just as it's being done here. Now, I kind of. And I don't understand why that is. Why was this applicant, because then he could have had, if I'm not mistaken, he could have had both the rezoning and the subdivision application handled at the same meeting.
Yes, ideally that is correct order. We do rezoning first and then followed by the subdivision, or do it at the same hearing. But in this case, like the recent amendment was July 2022, which was rejected. So the applicant just wanted to make sure that if this goes through, then they can spend more money on applications. So it was a decision by the.
It's just, the inconvenience of the whole matter seems to me something we don't like to see. And also, and this is perhaps a little bit off the point for this application, but in some cases, And I believe this has happened. The subdivision was approved. And then subsequently, out of order, as we're discussing, the rezoning application was not.
Right.
Now you're in a mess.
Right, that could still happen.
It did.
Yeah.
It did.
The subdivision is a different public hearing, the rezoning requires another public hearing.
So I would urge that Red River Planning arrange for as few visits back to this council for this applicant. And the next two that are required be done at the same time.
If the subdivision is approved this evening, the land is still zoned multifamily.
Yes, that's correct,
What forces the applicant to come back to rezone?
because the subdivision won't be registered yet. You would have to check that all those conditions are to register it.
It'll be a condition.
It is a condition.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I do agree with Councilor Duval, though. I think that it would have been nice to have seen
But,
simultaneously in the same meeting.
but you're saying this was the applicant's choice.
Right. Because there was a recent rejection. Long ago.
Not Red River, but applicant.
Mr. Sarachek?
A lot of the stuff that we talking about sound. But
Gonna turn his mic on for him.
Yes.
Oh,
it is, I just gotta move up a little bit, yes.
There you
Wow, amazing. Okay. Okay, I'd like to thank Mayor and Council along with members of the community who have taken the time to hear details of the amendment to the approved subdivision located at 2018 First Avenue. I'm here today along with my wife Linda, who both reside in RMV St. Paul and own the property located at 2018 Burton Avenue. I've prepared a short presentation and hopefully we can address any concerns or answer any questions you have regarding this amendment application. Briefly, I'll be reviewing the current property zoning and approved subdivision. I will then look at the previous amendment request and development options. I will discuss the current proposal. I will discuss the improvements and the summary of what we talked about, and then I will open it up for questions. Property located at 2018 Burton Avenue is presently zoned RM multi-housing dwelling zone. The RM zone permits uses such as home occupation, institutional residence, multi-housing dwellings, and two housing dwelling. The RM zone also considers 16 conditional uses that can be approved by conditional use order, such as an eating and drinking establishment, a convenience store, health services, and others. This zone is the same zoning that exists for Montour Gardens, which is listed there as well, and is also a Silver Ridge condominiums along Birds Hill Road. Subsequent to the zoning of this property to multifamily in 2018, I made application for a condominium subdivision. The three bungalow style duplex condominium subdivision was approved by council in 2019 and is still approved. With this subdivision approval, there was also requirements for setback variances. At the rear yard, there was a 20-foot variance that was required. And also there was a variance for the front yard of 13.5 feet from the sidewalk. And there was also a separation between the duplex required of 5 to 6 foot variance. In July of last year, after corresponding with Red River Planning, an application was made to amend the previously approved 3 bungalow style duplex condominium subdivision.
This amended plan would have 3 duplex facing north on Burton Avenue. The amended plan was denied. The major concerns expressed by council were that there were 6 driveways that were adjoining onto Burton Avenue. They also were concerned with 32-foot lot sizes. And also it became apparent that there was numerous variances that were going to be required with this proposal. After the July meeting and having discussions with relevant planning, there was numerous options I considered based on the housing dwelling zone. One of the options being approved was the previously approved 3 bungalow duplex style condominium subdivision that was approved back in 2019. The subdivision is still approved. However, there is a requirement for me to reapply and seek approval for the following variances. So I would have to seek approval for the 20-foot variance on the rear. I would also have to seek the variance for the 13.5 feet from the sidewalk. And I'd also have to seek again a variance for the 5 to 6 feet between the buildings. So that is something that I would have to go and apply for. Also, what was discussed with the multi-dwelling zone of this property, variations of this design was also discussed with Red River Planning. This type of building could be constructed on site with no building variances required. If I did require an extra access to the property, a variance would be required for an extra driveway. Although this is a very viable option, considered the zoning, this option was never discussed with residents in previous council, and therefore it has not been discussed any further. Considering the feedback I received and the comments made by council at the July meeting, I am seeking approval to amend the existing approved 6-unit multifamily subdivision to 4 residential single-family lots. Considering the settlement center designation for the area where 2018 Burton Avenue is located, this design is a benefit to the area compared to townhouses, low-rise apartments, or multi-housing. One of the concerns raised at the July meeting was 6 driveways that we'd be needing onto Burton Avenue. My hope is that reducing the driveways from 6 to 4, that would eliminate this concern. It is very difficult for me to have any type of impact on the traffic issues that occurred in this general area, but reducing it from the 6 to the 4, at least it eliminates some of that possible congestion. I've also increased the single family lot size to 52.3 feet from the 32-foot lot sizes that I sought approval for back in July. The 32-foot lot sizes was a concern that was expressed by all councilors at that meeting. In addition to the amended subdivision application approval, as advised, I will be seeking to rezone the property from the rural multifamily or the RM multi-housing dwelling zone to R18 single housing dwelling zone as one of the conditions for the approval. This slide compares the permitted uses for each zone. As you can see, the RM zoning allows for 5 permitted uses, and the R18 single housing dwelling zone allows for 3 uses. As part of the amended subdivision application, if approved, would also require the width and area variances to bring the lots into compliance. The site area requirement in R18 is 8,000 square feet. The proposed lot sizes are 7843 square feet, which means 98% of the site requirement. The site width requirement is in R18 is 60 feet. The proposed lots are 52.31, which means 88% of the width requirement. This map is a map of the settlement area. You can see that there's numerous uses that are allowed in the settlement center area in St. Paul. The orange box is where the 2018 Burton Avenue property is located. The orange dots are lots that exist today that don't meet the 50-foot width or the area requirement. It's similar to what Sam had produced as well. This is just comparing what was approved. So on the left, what was approved is the 20-foot variance at the back. So those variances, and then the 6-foot separation, and then the 13.5 feet from the sidewalk. So that's what I would have to reapply for if I went with that design. What I'm proposing is on the other side is the back, instead of now a minimum of 25 feet at the rear. Building separation would be 12 feet. And from the sidewalk would be 30 feet. It is our position that the amended proposal has less impact on the lands, affording more room for green space, increased separation distance to existing neighbors. There's more characteristics of the neighborhood in terms of form and orientation of the approved plans. The buildings would line up what exists today. I've had discussions with the residents, the board of the 2018 Burton Avenue property to discuss the subdivision amendment changes. I've also tried to discuss the proposed changes and variants with residents on Burton Avenue and some of the residents along Rosie. I received 24 signatures supporting the subdivision amendment changes and variances, and I have them with me here today. The amended plan was very well received, and feedback from residents was very positive. I did note one of the residents' comments that is the close proximity of the 2018 property. It indicated that it's a good plan and that it's suitable for the street. This is just to summarize the improvements from the original approved plan. The amended design made improvements by proposing increased front yard setbacks that line up with existing buildings on the street. Increased setbacks from neighboring properties, increased building separation, increased green space. So increase the ability to keep more trees along the back and add more green space. Better site containment and drainage ability. So the design will allow for more permeable soil to that would affect the land drainage. It would reduce added infrastructure and service infrastructure. Better emergency and municipal services accessibility. It is our belief this amended design is in line with the intent of the settlement center designation. It fits in very well with the homes in the area and the development plans of the R&D St. Paul. That concludes the presentation. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I think by the time you're done with this property, you're going to be a consultant for planning.
Well, it's they're really kind of sick and seeing me already, I'm sure, but it's been,
Yeah.
Sure.
Not sick of seeing you. I see that your skills are getting better in planning.
They are, yeah.
Your presentation was fabulous.
Yes.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant?
No.
Okay. No questions? Okay, so Mrs. Storchuk is signed in as well in support. Would you like to speak to the application? Okay, thank you. Okay, so are we prepared to close the public hearing, or do we have any further questions for the planner? No, okay. Okay, so for resolution.
Be resolved that council close the public hearing of council for subdivision S 18-2768 for 2018 Burton Avenue.
Can I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Horechko, second by Councillor Duval. All those in favor? And that's carried. And now for resolution.
Be it resolved that subdivision S 18-2768 be approved subject to the following conditions. Applicant owner submits confirmation in writing from the CAO of the municipality that taxes on the land to be subdivided for the current year, plus any arrears have been paid or arrangements satisfactory to council have been made. Payment of any applicable development levies have been paid. A development agreement with the municipality has been entered into to address items including but not necessarily limited to the use of land and any existing or proposed building, fencing and landscaping, sewer and water, waste removal, snow clearing, drainage, any other standard the municipality deems necessary. 2. Applicant owner submits confirmation from Manitoba Hydro and Central Gas that an easement agreement has been entered into with Manitoba Hydro and Central Gas with respect to existing and or future facilities associated with the subdivision, and a plan of easement as required by the Real Property Act has been provided. Applicant owner submits written confirmation from Bell MTS that an easement agreement and right-of-way agreement have been entered into with Bell MTS with respect to existing and or future facilities associated with subdivision as required by the Real Property Act. Registration of this agreement will be included as a condition on the final certificate of approval. And 4, applicant owner submits a written confirmation from Manitoba Environment, Climate and Parks, Water Stewardship Division that all conditions listed in their correspondence on December 1st, 2022 have been completed. Applicant owner rezones the property to the R18 single family dwelling zone. And applicant owner obtain all the required variances to accommodate the 4 single family lots for reduced site area and.
Thank you. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Duval. I will second the motion. Any discussion? Okay, the only thing that I want to say, just for no confusion to the audience tonight, is that this has no impact on our moratorium. The 6 hookups were allocated in 2019.
Correct.
Therefore, this is just a reconfiguration of the lot posed for subdivision, and there would be 4 hookups that were allocated within the 6. So it is not a new subdivision that's affecting the moratorium that we have in place today. And I'll call for the question. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Hey, can I just have a quick recess? Under policy, we have 7.1, policy JD 186, infrastructure and development officer for resolution.
Be resolved that policy JD 186, infrastructure and development officer be approved as presented.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Horechko, seconded by Councillor Postumus. Any discussion or questions? No, hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor? That's carried. Under bylaw 8.1, non-union employee bylaw 2023-01 for first reading. Resolution.
Be resolved that bylaw number 2023-01, being a bylaw of the arm of East St. Paul to authorize hours of work, remuneration and benefits for municipal employees not covered under another bylaw, a collective agreement or a contract be given first reading.
I have a mover, please. Councillor Imhoff, seconded by Councillor Duval. Any questions or comments? Okay. All those in favor? That's carried. Sorry, 8.2. Senior administration bylaw for first reading for resolution.
Be resolved that bylaw number 2023-01, 02 being a bylaw of the Arma of East St. Paul to authorize hours of work, remuneration, and benefits for senior administration employees not covered under another bylaw, a collective agreement, or a fixed term contract be given first reading.
I'll move that. I have a seconder, Councillor Hatchko. Any questions or comments? No, not hearing. Okay, I'll call for the question. All those in favor? And that's carried. Okay, so under general, we have 2023 FCM Sustainable Communities Conference. For information, but it has been brought to the agenda to see if any counselor or counselors are interested in attending the conference. It can be attended virtually or attended in Ottawa.
Correct, yeah.
So I'll open the floor to any comments or for resolution. Sorry, I forgot.
The resolution is gonna really depend.
If they attend, okay, so we won't have those, okay. Is anybody interested in attending the conference? I'm away. Councillor Frenchco,
Well, I would attend it virtually.
okay. Anybody else like to attend?
I'd like to attend it virtually as well.
Great.
I would do virtually, not attend in Ottawa, but virtual is fine.
Okay. Councillor Duval, are you interested in attending as well?
I've been to a couple of these and no, I think it's very good,
I heard it's very, very good.
very thorough.
Climate change in it too. So,
It goes about 4 days, if I'm not mistaken.
what is it?
Is that? Well, it's pretty long.
3 days.
3 days? Okay.
Are you reconsidering?
Well, yeah, I mean, I would, I would probably look at doing the whole thing as much
Okay,
as I could of it virtually.
okay, great. Okay, so can I ask that everyone turn their mics on, because I think Councillor Frenchco, yours is off, and Councillor Duval, yours mic is off. I think that Michelle's having a hard time hearing us.
It was that time.
Yes, okay, great. Okay, now the resolution, please.
Be it resolved that all council members be authorized to attend the FCM Sustainable Communities Conference online version from February 8th to the 10th, 2023.
I'll move that, seconded by Councillor Imhoff. Any discussion? Call for the question. All those in favor? That's carried.
We have a budget.
We have no business arising from delegation, and we have correspondence to review. So we will move in camera now. Can I have the resolution to move in camera, please?
Be resolved that council now move in camera as per section 152 of the Municipal Act. Discuss business development and personnel matters. Be it further resolved that all matters discussed while in camera to remain confidential as per section 83(1)(d) of the Municipal Act.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Imhoff, seconded by Councillor Duval. All those in favor? That's carried. Okay, we are coming out of in camera. Can I have the resolution to come out of in camera?
Be resolved that council now moves out of camera and resumes the regular meeting of council.
I have a mover, please. Councillor Posthuma, seconded by Councillor Imhoff. All those in favor? That's carried. We have one resolution coming out of in camera, and that is was 9.1.1 second water distribution line project for resolution.
Whereas council approved the second water distribution line project in the first call for capital project budget for $650,000. And whereas the bid opportunity was posted on Merck's and closed on December 22nd, 2022. And whereas the low bid exceeds the pre-tender estimates and the project budget amount. Therefore, be it resolved that the second water distribution line project be tabled.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Imhoff, seconded by Councillor Duval. Any discussion? Okay, call for the question. All those in favor? That's carried. And resolution for adjournment.
Be it resolved that the meeting be adjourned, the time being 8:08.
I have a mover, please. Rich seconded by Posthumous. All those in favor? That's carried. That's it. Thank you very much. Good evening.